as well, okay? Espresso. Like I was saying at the beginning of the day, it is the most important drink on the coffee menu because it's the base of all the drinks in the coffee menu. So it maybe seemed like we spend a lot of time, focusing on espresso and learning calibration, but like if the espresso doesn't taste the way it's supposed to, and you're serving it to the customer, you're going to get a lot of complaints. So that's why it is so important to focus on the espresso. How many grams are we using for our espresso?
16.
16 exactly. How many milliliters?
30.
60.
60 milliliters, yeah, exactly. And how many seconds?
30.
30 seconds.
Exactly. So it's really important to remember that recipe. So like we were saying at the beginning, espresso, really concentrated form of coffee, really bitter, really intense, and it is for 60 milliliters. Has anyone ever tried a macchiato?
No.
Nobody?
I tried once, espresso and form of milk.
That's exactly what it is, yeah. So macchiato, it's an Italian drink. So it means to stain. So all you're doing is you're staining the espresso with cappuccino foam. So normally for a double shot, you would put 2 scoops of your cappuccino foam on top of your espresso, and you're staining the top of the espresso. If you went to Italy and you walk past any coffee shop, you will more than likely see an Italian sitting outside coffee shop drinking macchiato, served in a really small cup. So yeah, it's your double shot of espresso, and then you just get 2 scoops of your cappuccino milk, and you're staining the top of the espresso with your cappuccino foam. Cortado. Has anyone ever tried a cortado?
First time heard.
No? Has anyone ever seen cortado on a menu in a coffee shop? Yes, no? Yeah, so it's a Spanish drink. It's getting a little bit more popular in coffee shops in Ireland, especially specialty coffee shops. So cortado means to cut. So all you're doing is you get your double shot of espresso, and then you're cutting the espresso with equal parts milk. So if you have 60 milliliters of espresso, how much milk are we using? 60 milliliters of milk, yeah, so it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So that means that equal parts milk to equal parts espresso. And like I was saying, cortado means to cut. So you're just cutting the espresso with the same quantity of milk. And when you're steaming the milk, for the latte, when everyone was practicing their latte milk, we brought the jug down for 1 second, and then we brought it down for a second. That gives us 1 centimeter of foam. But for cortado, you're using the flat white milk, so you're only bringing it down for 1 second. So that small movement you bring down for 1 second, that incorporates less than 1 centimeter of foam, so say 0.5 centimeters of foam. So it's a really thin, silky drink. But yeah, if you do see it on a coffee menu, I'd recommend trying it. It's really nice, especially if you enjoy the taste of espresso, but you find it maybe just a little bit too bitter. The cortado definitely would be an option for someone if they want to give it a go. Latte. Did everybody get to try make a latte?
Yeah.
Okay, nice one. So what's the first ingredient?
Espresso.
Espresso, exactly. So double shot of espresso, and then you are adding your milk. The milk has 1 centimeter of foam. So like I was saying, you bring the jug down for 2 seconds, 1 second, and then the second. So that's going to incorporate 1 centimeter of foam on top, and the latte will be served in a 12-ounce cup. So this would be your 12-ounce cup, and then this is obviously your 8 ounce. The 8 ounce is obviously 4 ounces less than your 12 ounce, so this is a larger size cup. And so your latte will be served in this. And it's in your 12-ounce cup. How about mocha? Has anyone tried mocha before? What is mocha?
Chocolate, espresso,
Exactly, yeah. So again, starting with your espresso, then you're going to add your 2 tablespoons of chocolate. When you add the 2 tablespoons of chocolate into the espresso, you get your teaspoon, you mix. So you're melting the chocolate with the espresso flavouring, And then obviously the sweetness of the chocolate kind of balances the bitterness of the espresso. And then what you're adding is, you're adding your latte milk. So the same milk that you steam for latte, you steam it for mocha as well. So you add your 1 centimeter of foam. So 1 centimeter of foam means 2 seconds of air incorporated into the jug, and it's a 12-ounce cup as well. So it's pretty similar to a latte, except one extra ingredient. You're just adding 2 tablespoons of chocolate, or sorry, 2 teaspoons of chocolate, and you're graving that mix before adding your latte milk. Okay. Cappuccino. A couple of people at the beginning of the day said they drink cappuccino. Does anybody know what cappuccino is?
I think the same, but different percentage of.
That's exactly what it is, yeah. So a lot of people think that latte and cappuccino are completely different drinks, but they're pretty similar. So, like I was saying at the beginning, always starting with your double shot of espresso. So you're heating the milk to the same temperature. So what temperature are we heating our milk to?
60.
60, 65, yeah, exactly. So that's the temperature that we're aiming for when we're heating our milk. And we're serving it in a 12-ounce cup, so it's the same quantity of milk as well. But what we're doing is we're adding an extra second of air, okay? Extra second of air, so you have 3 seconds of air incorporated into your jug instead of 2. That's going to give you more than 1 centimeter of foam. So that could maybe give you 2 centimeters of foam. So if you were to compare a latte and cappuccino side by side, one would have more foam on top than the other. So obviously the cappuccino would have more foam, latte has less foam, but it's the same ingredients. You have your double shot espresso, your milk heated to 60, 65, served in a 12-ounce cup, but it's only 1 centimeter of air extra incorporated into your cappuccino compared to your latte. You would also as well, if you were to serve a latte in a coffee shop, you would always ask the customer, would you like chocolate on top? But sometimes people, they want a foamy cappuccino, but they actually don't like the chocolate on top. So it's kind of a preference. Traditionally, it would always be like chocolate, but now people, it's kind of, you would just ask them if they wanted chocolate or no chocolate on top of their cappuccino. But obviously, when someone orders cappuccino, you know that they just want a foamy or milky drink, then your latte. Does that sound okay? So like I was saying, 12 ounces again. Flat white. Has anyone ever tried a flat white?
Yes.
A couple people nod their heads, yeah. So, first ingredient, like I was saying,
Espresso.
espresso, exactly. So, espresso, and what we're.
White.
Which?
White.
No, you're thinking of white mocha.
No, like
But
less milk and a lot of foam.
No, so it's the same quantity of. Sorry, no. Same amount of espresso, but the flat white is going to be served in your 8-ounce cup. So it's the same amount of espresso as latte, but there's less milk.
Oh.
The milk is going to be heated to the same temperature, but what we're doing is we're only incorporating 1 second of air. So 1 second of air is going to give us a really thin layer of foam, same as the cortado, thin layer of foam on top of your flat white. So it's really silky, it's really smooth, and obviously this is served in the 8-ounce cup, but that's why you might get more of the flavour from the espresso in a flat white, because obviously there's 4 ounces less of milk, so that means that you can actually taste the flavour of the espresso a lot more. Some people really enjoy, because sometimes people think, or sometimes people don't like lattes because it's 12 ounces of milk is quite a lot. Like, that's quite a large cup compared to your 8 ounce. But yeah, it's double shot espresso, your 8 ounces of milk, or sorry, your 6 ounces of milk with your 1 second of air. 1 second of air to give you 0.5 centimeters of foam on top. So when you were to taste a flat white, it's going to be really smooth, and you're not going to get a lot of foam in a flat white. So that's why it's called flat, because there's less foam. Does anybody have any questions about the flat white? The flat white is probably currently right now the most popular drink in a coffee shop in Ireland. So if you are working as a barista, you probably majority of the time will be making flat whites.
Do they want a smaller jug?
Exactly, yeah. So you're steaming less milk. So
То же самое.
for the flat white,
Чашка меньше.
see the way our latte jug is quite large, flat white jug a lot smaller, but you would still fill your milk to just below the spout,
Yeah,
and then you would steam it
И стаканчик.
for less.
for
Не менше
1 second less. So, do you know the way for latte you bring the jug down 1,
Спеціально вони
2,
тоді
Yeah.
отаку
for a flat white you just bring it down once.
кувшинчик.
And then that only incorporates 1 second of air, so then less than 1 centimeter foam. And it's a little bit trickier to steam milk in for a flat white because obviously the jug is a lot smaller. So any kind of small movement can disturb the air that's been incorporated into the milk. So it could spill over, or you could heat it too quickly, it could burn. So that's why I'd recommend practicing your lattes first, and then move on to flat whites. Does anybody else have any questions on flat whites? No? Okay. Americano.
Espresso and water.
Espresso and
Water.
water, exactly, yeah. But what you do with the Americano, you put your boiling water into the cup first, and then what happens is you put your espresso on top. Because you want the crema of the espresso sitting on top of your
Okay.
Americano. You never want to put your espresso in first and then put boiling water on top of your espresso. Because what happens is
Спочатку
boiling
воду,
water is going to
потім
break up the crema and
еспресо вліво,
you're not actually going to get
щоб
that
не
kind
нарушити
of
п'янку.
creamy colour
Якраз
on top of your
здається,
Americano.
на
Then you
еспресо.
have the
Americano, one normally double or single espresso.
it's a double, exactly, yeah. Depending on where you go, I would prefer Americano in an 8-ounce cup, but sometimes places would serve it in the 12 ounces, but I think that's too much water, but I prefer serving in an 8-ounce because it's obviously less water and you can enjoy the flavour of the espresso a lot more. White Americano then is, you would make your Americano like a regular Americano, and then you would, let's say, put some hot milk on top of the espresso. So it's somebody now who would, let's say, like the temperature of the Americano, because Americanos are a lot hotter than a flat white would be, because obviously the water coming out of the machine is something close to about 90 degrees, and so they don't want the temperature of the coffee to reduce, so that's why they ask for a white Americano, so you're putting hot milk on top, and obviously the temperature is going to decrease instead of putting cold milk, because obviously the cold milk will decrease the temperature of the Americano. Any questions about any drinks on the menu?
What is this name from?
Americano.
All these names, like is it Spanish, Italian?
Espresso, Italian. Macchiato, Italian. Cortado, Spain. Latte, that's Italian as well. Mocha,
Светла.
I'm pretty sure mocha is, I'm pretty sure it's Italian. Cappuccino is also Italian. Flat white, Australian. So, depending on who you ask, a flat white could be from New Zealand or Australia. The Australians like to claim flat white, but some New Zealanders claim that they invented flat white. And then Americano, again Italian. It was during
World War II.
World War II, when Americans were in Italy, they thought the espresso was too intense, so that's why they ordered boiling hot water with espresso, and then that's why the Italians called it Americano, because Americans didn't like the flavour of the espresso. Other drinks that you might find on the menu, if you go to like a bar, you get espresso martini, which obviously has espresso in it. So espresso martini is vodka, espresso, and then coffee liqueur like Kahlua, and then normally like syrup. So if you're ever working in a bar, you probably would find an espresso machine as well if you're making cocktails there. And then like coffee, if you were to like get coffee at home, you know, you have like your French press, mocha pot. Does anyone ever use a Chemex to filter coffee? No. It's basically just filtered coffee. Any other? So does anyone ever try Vietnamese coffee? No. Vietnamese coffee is with condensed milk. So it's like it's almost like a dessert drink because condensed milk is quite sweet, and then they have espresso with it. Does anyone ever try affogato?
Turkish coffee is from.
Turkish coffee, yeah. Turkish coffee is it's like I tried it once before. It comes in like a pot that you heat on sand. Am I right saying that?
Yes.
And then you. Oh no, yeah. And then do you drink it with milk or no?
No, it's
no.
not.
But it's really rich, really.
Strong.
Yeah, it's really intense coffee. But yeah, it's cool. I like the process of making it. Yeah, it's cool. But you go to any country in the world and they'll have a different version of creating a drink. Trying to think. Spanish latte would be, yeah. So, Anna, how do you make a Spanish latte?
What they do?
But the juice like that they give you a latte,
Yeah.
adjust with ice, and you have to transfer
Okay.
the hot coffee to the cup. Why do
Is
they
that-
do that? I don't know.
I think concentrated milk.
Concentrate milk and
And ice.
with ice. Okay.